Yeah, good. So, here, I don't know if you know the story of Solomon and that, but, I asked about your first car, because I remember my first car. It was kind of an old, rusted out 1986 Camaro. Had like a, what do you call that, the soft top on it, 3-speed. I loved the car. I never got to drive it because they sold it before I could ever actually drive it. But it was actually my first car. And I remember as you start to drive, there's always that kid in school. There was that one kid in school that was driving this really nice car. Like, how are they driving a I guess nowadays it would be $30,000 vehicle. Back then it was quite expensive. I'm like, how are they driving something like that? Maybe you were that kid. Maybe you worked hard and you're like, man, I had a sweet ride when I was driving, and that's what I did. But normally that kid had gotten that, and everybody knows why, at least at the beginning of any kind of school. It's like, well, their parents are loaded. Their parents are rich. That's how come they have it. Well, that's Solomon. He's a rich kid. It just was given to him. Handed to him. He was given everything. Completely different than David. David was this time of fighting and battles. And that's what his people did all the time. All right? There was no peace at all. Just fighting. And when I was thinking about that this morning, again, it kind of reminds me of our church in a little bit. It seems to me like since we decided, hey, we want to do something relevant for a community, and we want to be part of the community and reach out and grab a hold on and do some things that are really important through a community center or not, that this church has gone through a lot of battles. Can I get a witness? You're doing it, right? Can I get a witness? There's, just a lot of things that have gone on, from deaths to job losses to fights and divorces and separations and people trying to figure things out, and in lots of areas. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of what we've been going through, is this battle period. I'm looking forward to the day that's over, right?
Amen.
That's not happening. We can hope. One day it will happen, but until then, yeah. So, but they battled. They battled, and God battled for them and just took out all their enemies. So Solomon gets the kingdom. He has everything. He's given to him. And he doesn't have to do anything. No battles, no nothing. And there's a little verse I want to show you up here that God asked him a question. They mentioned in the video. That'll come in. Is that good? God asked him a question. Another question. The question is,
what do you want?
What do you want me to give you? Imagine that. You have everything. And God says, what do you want me to give you? Right now, just stop thinking, what do you want me to give you? Maybe it's friends. Maybe it's a better relationship. Or actually, not with a different person, but that my relationship would be better. Money. A new car, or even my first car. What are those things? And I think everybody has those things, and God asks, what do you want? At least he had time to hear him ask. He actually heard him. Normally I got to come and say, hey, what do you guys want? What do you guys want? Think about it. I think God's asking the same question. What do you want? Well, his answer was, I want wisdom. I need to be wise on how to rule these people, and I just need wisdom. I need to have the right heart, and I need wisdom. Normally, that's not my first request. It's the other things. But I guess you could have all those other things, but if you weren't wise, you wouldn't know what to do with them right anyway. Right? So part of a better relationship is learning how to be wise so that you can be a better spouse or a better partner. Wisdom comes from maybe falling down once in a while over and over and over again. But he was so smart. He was smarter than anyone. He was richer than anyone. Because he asked for this request, God says, I'm going to give you everything. You didn't just ask for something selfish. I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to make you so rich. There's no one as rich as you before you or ever after you. And we think of people like David Gates, but they weren't kings. They didn't rule. He's like, you are going to be filthy rich. And you're going to have everything. Because you just asked for wisdom. And so he was the kid, he was the guy that had everything. Just given to him, blessed by God. And he was so smart, he wrote. Who here likes to read? Anyone like to read? People magazine? Wish TMZ was in paper form? Something like that. I mean, like to read. I'm not a big reader. I like to read the Bible. Otherwise, I'm just not a big reader. But I realize that when I do read some people's stuff, they wrote it because they're wise. They understand it, and they write it down. And so he wrote books. And he wrote and had wisdom so that he could give wisdom to everyone else. And so in the Bible, there are like 3 books that he wrote for wisdom, for your life. And they came from this guy. And so you say, well, yeah, I could use some wisdom on how to do this. Here's an idea. Maybe go to one of the books and read it, and I bet you it says something about that in there. About a relationship, about working hard if you don't have a job. I mean, all kinds of things. There's wisdom there. Alright? So that's Solomon. Wise everyone. But there's always at some point trouble in paradise. Right? Trouble in paradise. And like his father before him, he had a problem with ladies. 700 of them. That's a huge problem. Too much bad enough. Not that I have to, but that would do that.
You got caught, huh?
And the guys are sitting there like, shut up. Alright, but these women, they were such an influence. And ladies, you have huge influence on your guy. Huge influence on your man. And as you're growing, some of your teenagers are going, you have a huge influence. And so they had this influence where they could get him to actually not to worship other gods also, like they existed. And God warned him. He says, you know what? As long as you just obey me, do what I'm asking you to do, I'm going to continue to bless you forever in your kingdom. But there's trouble in paradise. And I wonder why. There's another video that we're going to show right now that maybe explains it a little bit better.